Wait, guys, pause. So it'd be pause, quiet. So if I have to edit it, I can. We don't talk over each other. Okay.
I guess it all starts back in 1971 when the illustrious Don Siegel decided to make his first very famous vigilante picture starring Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is this, is that I think, let me say it again, because I hate using the word interesting. Don Siegel, I think, is a very underrated director.
Dirty Harry allowed him to have his little, the say against the criminals. Plus, it was also kind of playing on more so down the road, not so much. I guess what Dirty Harry was doing is Dirty Harry was trying to take the role of the movie viewer, and at the time you could say that was Richard Nixon's silent majority, and trying to focus their anger into different things that they couldn't really control, like with Dirty Harry, the Zodiac Killer.
Well, here's what Dirty Harry, the story, the genesis
was never brought to justice.
I think the vigilante theme was very popular.
The genesis of Dirty Harry is that the 60s, there was a lot of unrest, political turmoil, there was protests in the streets, and there was also a lot of crime. And a lot of people felt powerless. So Clint Eastwood's character, Dirty Harry, Harry Callahan, came in and was a vigilante. And he took out the scum, and that's why a lot of people related to this film very much. And it started off a lot of these revenge type, vigilante type films. In fact, another one would be Death Wish.
Well, he wasn't really he was a cop.
He was a cop, but he was more a vigilante.
Used the badge to do whatever he wanted to do. I mean, just to go back a bit, how much at Coogan's Bluff, how much of an influence did that have on A Dirty Harry? Because some people say Coogan's Bluff was sort of the blueprint for what would be.
Well, it would make sense. It was directed by Don Siegel as well. Right. The only difference with that one is that it's a fish out of water story, where Clint Eastwood is a redneck kind of like cop or cowboy cop who comes up to New York to hunt a killer, played by Don Stroud. Dirty Harry is wonderfully shot. It takes place in the city of San Francisco, which
is also ironic because San Francisco is kind of but it is the epicenter for the peace movement in the United States.
And it's a very liberal city.
And that's why it works so well, because the Dirty Harry character is so out of his element that he is, a different person in this city of all these, liberal hippies.
But the weird thing is for a liberal hippie epicenter to the peace movement city that San Francisco was, the way it's portrayed not only in Dirty Harry, but all of the films, they make it seem like New Detroit from RoboCop. Really.
Well,
it's the most violent city I could ever imagine. And other than Callahan, the character of Dirty Harry, Harry Callahan, almost all the cops are incompetent and castrated morons. And only Harry Callahan is the one that's able to dispense justice.
Well, because he's the only one. He's the only one willing to really cross the line.
Well, first of all, I'm going to take exception to that. It depends on the film. Especially, I think we're going to discuss Dirty Harry first. That's the first in the series.
Let me rephrase.
Dirty Harry is unique in the canon.
Let me just start this. Let's put this in the beginning because it's important. Dirty Harry was the first of 5 films in the Dirty Harry series. The first one, of course, was Dirty Harry. The second one was Maximum Force.
No, Magnum Force.
Sorry.
Just like the gun, a Magnum.
Sorry. The first film was Dirty Harry. The second one was Magnum Force. The third one was Enforcer. The fourth one was Sudden Impact, which gave us the immortal line, "Go ahead and make my day." And the last one was The Dead Pool, which was the last entry in the series. And, of course, we had some other films where he might have played a Dirty Harry character.
You had a very similar character, like in my very favorite Clint Eastwood film, The Gauntlet, where I actually for a long time thought it was a part of that series, but it wasn't. But
it could have been. It could have been. It could have been part of the series. But anyway, let's get into the Dirty Harry. Now, Dirty Harry is a great cop movie. I think it's very well edited by Don Siegel for maximum suspense. There's a scene where a girl is kidnapped and they're looking for her, and then they find her in this pit. By the way, that's played by Deborah Lee Scott, who you might remember from TV in the 70s. There's a lot of good...
What TV show in the 70s?
She was on a lot of the old Norman Lear stuff. But it doesn't matter.
Like All in the Family, or...?
Doesn't matter. Anyway.
You can't throw something out that and just go, hey,
She was okay. People know who she is. Eric will put up a picture for everyone, so you'll remember her.
I'll need it for my benefit.
Oh, God.
You know what?
I like the grittiness of Dirty Harry.
That's what works.
You know what I liked, too, and this is kind of going with Eric just said, I like the pulpiness. The violence is awesome, and there's a lot of nudity.
Yeah.
It's very impressive. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, shit,
How
1971.
surprising.
When I was watching that movie, I was thinking about you.
A lot of big bush.
That's what I was thinking about, because of that line where John Vernon, by the way, love John Vernon as the mayor, is reading the letter where Scorpio it says that he kidnapped the girl, and he goes, "She has nice tits and a nice bush." And I was thinking of you immediately when that line came up. You know,
Yeah, but I would never say a nice bush because I'm not really into bushes.
yeah, get out the bushes
This is like a grindhouse film
Yeah.
with a big budget,
and some polish.
basically.
And-
And some polish.
and
I
let's-
mean, that's basically
Another
what it
thing
is, too.
is Don Siegel, whoever his DP was on this, he is awesome.
But
It was
I mean,
so
having
well
said
shot.
that, it is more complex than the later films.
Oh, I agree
You
with that.
know,
This
they-
one,
they really
this
tried
one
it.
is more serious and has a really realistic vibe. The other ones, as they got on, became more and more cartoonish and comic book like.
Well, it was like the James Bond series,
for number 2.
where it would go through a
Yeah,
phase where they just got more and more ridiculous and more like comedies than actual spy thrillers. That's kind of where the Dirty Harry series went.
Well, the Dirty Harry series, I think the character they betrayed the character in the later sequels. They make him kind of more of a buffoon, and it's just not. It doesn't work.
They make it all about his one-liners. And
Yeah, it's like it reminds
The
me.
sound bites,
It reminds
yeah.
me of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. The first Nightmare on Elm Street movie was scary. Started out really, very, very, very scary. Then the sequels, of course, said, "Oh, let's make him a comic character. Make him give him some lines." And of course, they do this where it betrays the audience, becomes more of a wink, wink, nudge, nudge at the camera.
Well, don't you guys think that Dirty Harry was incredibly well shot?
Oh, I think it's very.
yeah,
well
no, I
shot.
think it's a very well-made movie.
In fact, there's a few scenes where Don
The
Siegel was sick.
DVD is beautiful.
Yeah, in fact, the Blu-ray looks better than ever because they went back and restored it. Looks better.
In fact,
than
I would
they-
say that's very influential in terms of the modern-day action cop films and buddy cop films. It has its DNA in the original Dirty Harry, because there's particular attention given to like car chases and there's some very good action scenes in this film.
Well, I like the relationship too between Clint Eastwood and his partner Renee Santoni. I think it's a pretty good relationship, and that's a very
I like that actor.
yeah, Renee Santoni. He's a very good actor. In fact, you might remember him on Seinfeld as Poppy.
Yeah, but he was also in Bad Boys as the counselor
That's right.
and parole officer.
And by the way,
We're talking about the original
they're
Bad
talking about
Boys.
the good Bad Boys.
yeah,
not
not
Michael
the piece
Bay.
of shit Will Smith
Not the
Bad
Will
Boys.
Smith
no,
movie.
Sean
We're big
Penn's.
fans of that one.
So we all like Dirty Harry?
I liked
it, I
let's
didn't
say-
love it.
All right, well, here's what I liked about Dirty Harry again. I think it's well shot, it's well acted, it's very, very suspenseful, and I also, of course, it introduces us to a very iconic character.
There is a scene in the film. I don't know if you've seen this recently or not, but there's a scene in the film
I
where
know which one you're talking
the character of Scorpio, otherwise known as the football stadium janitor and serial killer, comes in to buy, I think, cigarettes off of an old bartender, and he's clearly beaten up and bandaged face from the beating that Harry Callahan
Oh no, he's
gave
buying
to
a
him.
bottle of whiskey.
Bottle of whiskey, right, exactly, bottle of whiskey. And he's talking to this old bartender who's dressed like, almost like a saloon bartender. But anyway, the guy's, doing the typical bartender shtick, cleaning the glasses. And the guy's like, "Oh, what happened to you?" He's like, "I hit my wife and her brother hit me back harder." And the bartender's just like laughing along, like somehow hitting my wife is like just the most hilarious thing the bartender's heard all day. So then the bartender talks about all the whoop ass that he did he's like, "Oh yeah, I've read about you in the paper. You've stopped robberies on your own." And the bartender's like, "Yeah, I give him the business or whatever, but that's what it is."
That's a different scene.
And then he picks up like a bat or something, and Andrew Robinson goes, "Please, I scare easily." And it was the most painful exchange in the whole film.
Mike, let me correct
You
your
could
memory.
have
You got all the
got
facts
rid of-
wrong there. Let me just
all the facts. Yes,
I'll
all
tell
the
you.
facts.
No. He goes. That's a different scene where he's in the bar. He goes into a liquor store later to
Liquor
buy
store.
a bottle of booze again, and then the guy goes, "Well, you got hit a lot of times, didn't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's why I keep this thing."
Right.
Then he takes the bottle that he just buys, hits him over the
Right.
head, and he goes, "You son of a bitch, you bastard!" And he takes the gun, and that's when he goes out and
No,
hijacks
but
the school
remember, he
bus.
holds the gun up and waves it. And
That's what I'm saying. He
Andrew
goes, "Yes, that's what I have
and
this for."
And Andrew
Yeah.
Robinson goes, "I
scare
easily." It's just such a horrible fucking scene in the film.
I think it's good. I like it.
The old man laughs at like him abusing his wife. That's hilarious, and I don't know.
That's a dark scene.
It's
I
just
like it.
garbage.
I like
I
it.
felt we gave it more importance than it deserved personally, but okay.
Scary easily.
I didn't mind it. I didn't have that.
Well,
reaction.
one of my
There
favorite
you go.
my favorite scene, of course, is the scene with the shootout. I think it's terrific, where he, Callahan's getting his hot dog into the bank robbery.
But that's a famous scene too.
Of course, it's a great scene. It's shot on a back
That's
lot.
where he says that famous line.
Yeah, did I shoot? Do you feel lucky?
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, because his friend is sitting there on the ground, and when I say friend, I don't mean the guy that was laying on the ground was his friend in the film. This guy is obviously a friend of his off screen.
Oh, Albert Popwell. He's in the next 4 films.
Yeah, Albert Popwell.
Different characters, and also he's in Cleopatra Jones and the Casino of Gold in Cleopatra.